If you think Google makes money from search, you're analyzing the wrong business. Search is the most visible part of the company, but visibility is not the same as leverage. Billions of people type questions into Google every day, yet the real engine of the business sits quietly behind the search box. Here is the first contrast to understand. Users type questions, but Google captures something far more valuable than answers. Every search reveals intent, and intent at global scale becomes one of the most powerful economic signals ever created. So the real question is not how Google built the world's best search engine. The real question is why the most powerful advertising machine on the internet begins with a simple search bar. To understand that system, you have to go back to the late 1990s, when the internet was chaotic and difficult to navigate. Websites existed everywhere, but finding useful information often meant clicking through endless links. Two Stanford PhD students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, believed search could be improved by ranking pages based on how they connected to one another. Their algorithm treated links between websites as signals of trust and relevance. The idea became the foundation of Google, launched in 1998 with a mission to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible. Early users immediately noticed something different. Google returned better results faster and with a remarkably simple interface. While other portals filled their pages with banners and clutter, Google offered a blank screen and a single search box. But even with millions of users, a powerful search engine does not automatically create a profitable business. Servers cost money, engineers cost money, and operating infrastructure at internet scale becomes extraordinarily expensive. So what happens when the product everyone loves generates enormous usage but no obvious revenue model? The answer emerged from a simple observation about how people actually use the internet. People were not just browsing randomly, they were searching for very specific things like flights, restaurants, running shoes, and cameras. Those searches revealed exactly what users wanted in that moment. When billions of people voluntarily announce their intentions every day, an enormous economic signal begins to emerge. Google realized that search was not just a navigation tool. It was a real-time map of human demand. This is where the business model begins to change. In the early 2000s, Google introduced sponsored search, allowing companies to place small advertisements beside search results. Someone searching for running shoes might see a sports brand advertisement, while someone searching for cheap flights might see an airline promotion. The advertisement did not interrupt the experience but appeared at the exact moment when a user already had the intention to act. This is the moment the business model flips. Search answers questions while advertising captures intention. Information attracts users, but intent creates revenue. The visible business is a search engine, while the hidden advantage is a marketplace for human intention. Today, billions of searches happen every day across the internet. Each search represents a moment when a person expresses curiosity, need, or desire. What happens when a company can observe those signals at planetary scale? The answer appears in the numbers. Google generates more than $300 billion in annual revenue, and roughly 80% of that revenue comes from advertising connected to search. Advertisers compete in auctions for the opportunity to appear beside search results. But the most interesting part of Google's advertising system is how those advertisements are chosen. Every time someone performs a search, an automated auction happens in the background where advertisers bid for visibility. The highest bidder does not automatically win. Google also measures how relevant the advertisement is to the user's search. An ad that closely matches the user's intent can outrank a higher bidder with a less relevant message. This system rewards advertisers who align their message with what users are actually looking for. There is another structural advantage hidden inside this system. Google is not just selling ad space. It is selling the most valuable kind of timing in business. When you advertise on a billboard, you are hoping the right person drives by. When you advertise on television, you are interrupting someone who may not care. But when you advertise beside a search, you are meeting someone at the exact moment they are already looking. So what happens when one company becomes the default place the world goes to express intent? The answer is that advertisers slowly reorganize around that single choke point. If customers search on Google before they buy, then businesses cannot ignore Google without losing demand. Over time, being discoverable becomes a cost of doing business. This creates a quiet form of pricing power. Not because Google raises prices arbitrarily, but because the auction becomes more competitive as more businesses decide they have to participate. More participants means higher bids, and higher bids mean Google captures more value from the same search behavior. And notice how clean the leverage is. Google does not need to convince people to want something. It only needs to capture the moment they already do. That is why search is not the product. Search is the collection mechanism. Advertising is the monetization mechanism. The better Google understands intent, the more valuable the advertising system becomes. And that raises an important question. If a search engine becomes the most accurate map of human demand on the internet, how much are companies willing to pay to appear at exactly the right moment? This distinction is what makes the system powerful. When someone scrolls through social media, advertisements interrupt attention. But when someone uses search, advertisements align with attention. That difference changes the economics of advertising. But here is where the system becomes even more interesting. Over time, Google expanded beyond search into services like YouTube, Google Maps, and Gmail. Each product attracts billions of users for different reasons. Together, they form a network of behavioral signals that helps Google understand how people move through the digital world. Those signals ultimately strengthen the same core engine, advertising. But here is an important question. If advertising powers the system, why does Google keep search free instead of charging a subscription? The answer reveals how the machine really works. Search is not meant to generate revenue directly, but to attract the largest possible dataset of human intention. Charging users would reduce the number of searches, and fewer searches would reduce the amount of intent data available to advertisers. Google keeps search free because the value of the data is far greater than the value of a subscription fee. Social media reveals interests, but search reveals intent. Intent predicts action. Someone scrolling past a sneaker photo may simply be browsing, but someone searching for the best running shoes under $150 is preparing to buy. Search converts curiosity into measurable demand. Billions of searches occur every day, each one representing a signal about what people want right now. That creates an extraordinary feedback loop. If more people rely on Google to find information, the dataset of human intent grows larger. If the dataset grows larger, advertising becomes more accurate. If advertising becomes more accurate, businesses receive better results from their marketing. If businesses receive better results, they invest more money into the system. Google reinvests that revenue into improving search infrastructure, making the search engine faster, more accurate, and more indispensable. What began as a tool for organizing websites has become the center of a global advertising marketplace. Most people still think Google is a search company, but sophisticated observers analyze something different. They analyze where the leverage actually exists. Search attracts users while advertising captures value. Search organizes information, but advertising monetizes intention. In the modern internet economy, information is abundant and attention is scarce. Intention revealed through billions of searches becomes one of the most valuable signals ever created. Search may be what users see. Advertising is what powers the machine. And that is why Google's real business was never search. It was the economic engine built behind it.